Legal requirements for electrical wiring depend on the jurisdiction. Many areas do not have specific mandates for residential wiring if it adheres to the National Electrical Code, or NEC. Some jurisdictions might have specific rules for installation, maintenance, and replacement. The NEC doesn't mandate replacing cloth wiring, but it suggests replacement with modern wiring if it's damaged or deteriorated. Sellers usually must disclose known property defects, including electrical issues like cloth wiring. Sellers aren't always required to make repairs before sale. If a defect is disclosed and the buyer agrees to an as-is purchase, the seller may not be responsible for repair costs. Whether a seller replaces cloth wiring is negotiable. If the seller discloses the cloth wiring, the buyer decides if they accept the condition or want the seller to replace it before closing. If buying a property with cloth wiring, firstly inspect the wiring. Have a qualified electrician evaluate the wiring to assess its condition and find hazards. Secondly, negotiate with the seller. Based on the electrician's report, negotiate who pays for the wiring replacement. Cloth wiring is a fire hazard if not maintained. If concerned about the wiring's safety, consider replacing it before moving in. An electrician can tell you if the wiring is brittle, crumbling, or has exposed live wiring, meaning the cloth has deteriorated and exposes the copper wire. Any of these conditions make the wiring unsafe. The electrician will look for damage caused by rodents or insects or past electrical fires. If the house has not had electrical work for a long time, it is more likely the wiring should be updated to current standards. The electrician will check the amp service and the panel. Some older houses may only have a 60 amp service, which is not adequate for today's electrical needs. Also, the existing panel might not have the physical space for more circuits. The electrician will check the grounding. Often, older homes will have improper grounding, which is a shock hazard. They will also determine if there are any overloaded circuits and if there are any junction boxes that are not properly covered. The electrician will also check for aluminum wiring. Aluminum wiring was used for a period of time, and if not installed properly, it can be a fire hazard. The electrician will also determine if there is any asbestos present. Asbestos was used in some older electrical wiring, and if disturbed, it can be a health hazard. The electrician will provide a report that details all the issues that were found. The report can be used to negotiate with the seller. The cost to replace the wiring in a house depends on several factors, including the size of the house, the type of wiring, and the location of the house. The cost could range from $5,000 to $20,000. Aluminum wiring poses a fire risk due to expansion and contraction causing loose connections. Knob and tube wiring, an early system, lacks a ground wire and insulation, increasing fire and shock hazards. Breakers protect circuits from overloads and short circuits. Replacing cloth wiring enhances electrical safety and capacity for modern power demands. It is very important to hire a licensed electrician to do the job safely and up to code. Replacing the panel or upgrading the amps will probably involve working with the power company to disconnect and reconnect the power to the house. Replacing the wiring typically requires pulling permits from the city or county. Your licensed electrician will handle this for you. When the job is done, the city or county inspector will inspect the work to ensure it was done to code. Cloth wiring is a type of electrical wiring that was commonly used in homes built before the 1950s. It consists of copper wires that are insulated with a layer of cloth. The cloth is typically made of cotton or rayon and is often impregnated with asphalt or tar to provide additional insulation and protection from moisture. Over time, the cloth insulation can deteriorate, becoming brittle and cracking, which can expose the wires and create a safety hazard. Additionally, the cloth insulation is not as effective as modern plastic insulation, which means that cloth wiring is more likely to overheat and cause a fire. Although cloth wiring is not inherently dangerous, it is important to be aware of the potential risks and to take steps to mitigate them. If you have cloth wiring in your home, it is recommended that you have it inspected by a qualified electrician to assess its condition and identify any potential hazards. The electrician can advise you on the best course of action, which may include replacing the wiring or taking other measures to improve its safety. One of the main reasons why cloth wiring is considered a safety hazard is because the cloth insulation can deteriorate over time. This deterioration can be caused by a number of factors, including heat, moisture, and physical damage. As the cloth insulation deteriorates, it becomes brittle and cracks, which could expose the wires and create a potential shock or fire hazard. Another reason why cloth wiring is considered a safety hazard is because it is not as effective as modern plastic insulation. Cloth insulation is more porous than plastic insulation, which means that it is more likely to absorb moisture. This moisture can then cause the wires to corrode, which can further increase the risk of a shock or fire hazard. In addition to the above, cloth wiring is often installed in a way that is not up to modern safety standards. For example, cloth wiring is often installed without a ground wire, which can make it more likely for someone to get shocked if they come into contact with a live wire. Cloth wiring is also often installed in a way that makes it difficult to access for repairs or upgrades. This can make it more difficult to identify and fix any potential problems, which can further increase the risk of a safety hazard. Replacing cloth wiring can be a significant investment, but it is important to weigh the cost against the potential safety risks. If you have cloth wiring in your home, it is recommended that you have it inspected by a qualified electrician to assess its condition and identify any potential hazards. The electrician can advise you on the best course of action, which may include replacing the wiring or taking other measures to improve its safety. If you decide to replace your cloth wiring, it is important to hire a qualified electrician to do the job. Replacing electrical wiring is a complex and dangerous task that should only be performed by someone who is properly trained and experienced. When hiring an electrician to replace your cloth wiring, be sure to ask for references and check their credentials. You should also get a written estimate of the cost of the job before you start. The cost of replacing cloth wiring can vary depending on the size and complexity of the job. However, it is typically a significant investment, so it is important to shop around and get multiple estimates before you make a decision. Replacing cloth wiring can be a disruptive process, as it may require you to temporarily move out of your home while the work is being done. However, the peace of mind that comes with knowing that your home is safe from electrical hazards is well worth the inconvenience. In addition to replacing your cloth wiring, there are a number of other things you can do to improve the safety of your home's electrical system. These include installing ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in your bathrooms and kitchens, and having your electrical panel inspected regularly. GFCIs are devices that can detect ground faults and shut off the power to a circuit before someone can get shocked. They are an important safety device that can help to protect you and your family from electrical hazards. Your electrical panel is the central hub of your home's electrical system. It is important to have it inspected regularly to make sure that it is in good working order and that there are no potential hazards. An electrician can inspect your electrical panel and identify any potential problems, such as loose wires or corroded connections. They can also make sure that your electrical panel is properly sized for your home's electrical needs. By taking these steps, you can help to ensure that your home's electrical system is safe and reliable.